All right, folks, we are here for a look at the market. I have about an hour before I need to get out of here. Wow, gold is on an insane run this year. And I actually bought on this day. No, yeah. No. October, February, yeah. Bought on this day in February. It's all good. I'm not trading gold because I just prefer not to trade futures and I don't have that much experience, but I'm watching it. And it's had a hell of a year. It's also defied some of my expectations over commitment of traders. But I did say last year, I think in 2024, we're going to see gold be the asset that runs over, has gold mania. And yeah, maybe next time I will catch that. But yeah, it's been hot. Silver pretty hot too. Um, we're coming in, so the previous day, green day on everything kind of pushing up a little bit. We're also seeing that with Bitcoin just creeping higher, consolidating, forming a base here, getting tight. And we're seeing Bitcoin dominance come down a bit actually, and a lot of alts kind of outperforming. So we need to get under the hood, but one thing that I am noting, I just got to this, is so far we have a failed breakout on BNB as we took these highs. And a failed breakout in BNB in June was one of the things that really sent the market down. So just paying attention to that. Airbnb, ETH BTC. So we see ETH pushing up, others dominance, total, others XRP. Um, so where I was is having limit longs underneath the low of this consolidation. We have this 4 hour gap created. I'm gonna look in there and see. Um, and then I'd also like to be a buyer down here, but I want to trade to new highs. That might change depending on what we see. ETH's been a little bit anemic in the last day. It did show that this would have been a good entry, at least locally, is the low of this gap. I am in this short on near, which isn't really working, but I'm not going to call it yet. I need to look under the hood and see what's going on. I would say one of the issues with it has been was if I were to look at my trading log, it was that spot CVD had been supporting the rally, and I maybe did feel a little bit of FOMO when I opened the position, and also just seeing like every breakout on an alt had been working. Popcat is one that I'll consider. Okay, we are seeing Aave is one that I had considered. Okay, this one did have pushed up a little bit higher. So, okay. So now we need to go under the hood. Again, it's always like, how do we make money, right? How do we not lose money? Not about appealing to my emotions. So let's go take a look. We're on Bitcoin. I want to see CVD and I want to see the funding rate. And I want to see the funding rate for the, um, let's get rid of this, market as a whole. Predicted funding rate and global funding rate. Then we're going to look at ETH. We're also going to look at the funding rate from a different perspective. which is coin class. I really like the funding rate because it tells us how traders are positioned, but then when we also look at spot CVD, it can tell us um, a bit about how spot traders are behaving, which is also really helpful. And combined, we can really put in perspective. Okay, so if we go over here, we see funding is pretty hot. We see that there's net longs on almost everything, right? One exception is Celestia, it looks like, BNX. I'm curious on CKB because that was one as well. Let's look, CKB has stopped at least, but not going down. CKB is one. Well, Celestia is really shorted. Let's go ahead and look. Okay, and then what, CKB? Yeah, okay. That one's been, and then BNX. Okay. Interestingly, pretty interesting that BNX is so shorted. Okay, let's just look at BNX too, because it looks weird. So I'm just, this for pattern recognition. It's the most shorted coin right now. Okay, which means that as we see this open interest increasing is 3 millions in shorts that have increased for the most part. Because we see actually spot's been buying from here and perps have been selling. So I'm gonna just make a note of this for my own pattern recognition. Um, I'm gonna paste it on the chart and come back to it another time. This is what I'm saying. Now let's start with Bitcoin. It's continued spot pressure buying for the most part. I mean, yeah, it is really hot and we're seeing open interest just climbing. So there's going to be liquidations of longs, but those are going to be for buying, right? Like we see from here to here, prices up a lot, right? And we see that spot buying pressure is up from here to here. But actually, selling pressure is down. So people are kind of acclimated to selling. And it's true that the funding rate is hot, but it doesn't necessarily matter. Well, it matters, but it's not necessarily going to be enough to move price down. Now, same thing with ETH, as we see funding rate is high and open interest has a pretty significant increase, but it's all off of spot buying starting from in here. Spot started to buy. And will that trend continue? Well, what happened in there was a 50 basis point rate cut, which changed investors' behavior. So it seems possible, especially with Mount Gox out of the way. And then if we look at near I may not survive. It looks like I'm trying to get away from closing at the market ever. So I don't really love leaving it. I could set my TP closer, but we're saying funding rate climbing and perps getting more along, but what we are seeing also is this whole thing has been supported by spot. So I want to be careful about putting on any kind of new shorts. That said, I want to look at, oh, even in the last hour, it's just sprouting. So we'll come back to any kind of alts. I had some on my watch list. I mean, they're pretty much all pushing higher. Yeah, others looks strong, and really others is having this trend line breakout, right? So, I mean, at best, maybe we get a pullback, but it's probably not the right environment for shorts. Yeah, where did I get out? I got out around 62, 100. So let's look. I mean, Bitcoin is the primary one that I want to be in, right? And it's just pushing higher and higher. This isn't bearish. This isn't a place that I necessarily want to bid on the chart. And I also get the sense of, it's not much, but we've had decreasing buy pressure, increasing. I mean, locally, it's not the most bullish, and also funding's really high. I like the idea of longing lower still. I just don't know that we're gonna get there. I mean, I like these orders that I have. However, it's a question of, do I want to chase higher as well? This would have been interesting if I had come in last night and said, okay, I'm gonna put my limit right here. I'm expecting all-time high on Bitcoin, and really nothing about this is telling me otherwise. We do have the problem of, I guess locally, and maybe it doesn't look super great. Like the funding is pretty hot. Open interest has been coming up. I know that was a bottom, but it's like, do I really want to chase in, or do I want to try to wait? Look at the change in behavior that happened here from spot. Will that line continue to rise? Look what happened here when this line started to rise. It actually topped later after it started to go down. Now let's say that I want to chase. What would that look like? It would look like we have created a gap on the 4 hour. Right here. That's a sensible place to TP. Okay, so let's narrow it down to the 1 hour here. I wouldn't mind this. Mm, aiming there would be more conservative. Kind of like it. I mean, where it's like expecting higher. Although there's a world where we don't even get there. Like I don't even get filled, possibly. But yeah, I mean, we have a new 4 hour gap. We've got a 1 hour gap. Kind of like this. We buy right in here. We reclaim the 200 SMA. And it might not even come down here, but I like it. I would kind of, yeah, put my stop near the low here. On ETH, what would that look like? Do we have a 4 hour gap? We do not. Kind of like leaving this one on ETH and doing just Bitcoin, and maybe it fills, maybe it doesn't. And then for near, I've made it a rule to not market exit, although I would like to. I couldn't alternatively put a limit right there as my TP. I just feel like shorting is not really the correct thing to do in this climate. And also, I think I can market exit considering it closed above this, that's like a rule. I could also let it run. I know I want to put on this Bitcoin long. It's just a matter of how to manage this. I want to follow my rule of not market exiting. So I have the option of targeting here because it's a 4 hour gap, or just letting it run. The way it looks like an auto loss though. So I like the idea of maybe TPing here and just trying to save a little bit of money. The problem is the spot buying, which I knew and I marked as a problem coming in, but I did it anyway. Open interest has actually stayed the same in this, and the funding has stayed about the same, but the spot has been creeping up, creeping price higher. I think I'm gonna leave it. It's not really a lot of money to save. I could try to save $100. 232 right now. I could try to save, yeah, like 160 bucks. Let's go to Bitcoin. Okay. I'll do this one. I want to aim for the likely target where I expect there to be some kind of pullback at some point because of how much leverage has been building up. So we're gonna try this. Um, yeah, I'm gonna limit at 63,900 with a stop at 62,900. And my TP is gonna be 65,655. So we did it. Why not higher? That's a good question. This is a good place for some kind of a pullback. As much as I think, oh, it's just going to go straight to all-time highs in a swift fashion, which it might, I feel like there's a good chance that there's going to be profit taking. There's just a lot of overhead supply to work through, so maybe it doesn't. So here we are. I'm going to leave near alone. Um, could try to save money, but I'm just going to sit with it for now. And then let's go to CoinMarketCap and see if there's anything else. I'm gonna size small on that one. So I want to see what's up the most on the day and put it on my watch list. SEI whiff. SEI. Okay, let's look at this one. Yeah, I mean everything's kind of breakouts working, so I really don't like being long anything, or sorry, short anything, especially because of where things are on the chart. That said, I really want to stick to my rule. Geez, a lot of these are absolutely just straight up. It's really an alt season situation, actually. Sui, I think I have that. Jup, Ondo, Ondo. I'm curious about Helium, because that was one. Helium hasn't really been moving. Kind of been right about that, but it was, yeah, I didn't do a good job of maximizing that. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at page 2. There's actually a number of them that are down a little bit in the last 24 hours. ENA, Prime, dude, but so many of these are popping off. Alt, Mina, like another 10%. This has been up 10%, right? Yeah, it's such a bad place to be shorting the market here. Mina up. Yeah, I'm glad that it's not my main focus. My main focus on longs. on the right side. Mina did give a nice small little pullback. Okay, 376. I feel like it's not even gonna fill me, possibly. Or it might do this first, or even take that one first before coming back. Right? If Bitcoin can hit this high, here's what I would want to see is Bitcoin to hit this high or this high, then pull back, and then go. I'm definitely 100% for sure leaving these orders down here though. Although I might need to hike up the order on Bitcoin potentially to here. Right? It's a big area, but this is, let's look at a liquidation heat map. Where's my stop? My this one, 62. That looks okay. I think it should be at 62 though, maybe. Yeah, like right here, I think could be good. 62,000. I'm just gonna change my entry to 62 here. Okay. I also think if I wanted to be really conservative, aiming here would be a lot safer, right? This going from here, it's an extra $500. There's no way there's not a lot of profit taking right here though. So I feel like if price hit here, I would want to aim farther if I kept this order. But if price pulls back, it might make sense to only aim up to here. And I gotta think, like, what do I want here? I think I would just aim for that, honestly. It's not nearly as sexy, but I'm just going bit by bit. And this part of the rally is a little bit trickier because um, people are getting euphoric. You can see it in the chart. So this isn't a very exciting trade, but then from there, I'm looking for volatility to come in, and I want this to be my actual position, ideally. And I think that's going to be it. I'm about to log off here, hang with my dog. I don't see anything that makes any sense to be short at all. If anything, BNX is really interesting long, but how would I do it? Literally just hitting a fair value gap right now. I could maybe look at this low or this low. I don't know. Just leave it alone, but interesting. Price is coming in with a hard dump right now. Um, it's more likely than not I get filled. And And I mean, if I wanted to be more conservative too, maybe I should pull this order and try to enter lower. I actually like that. 63,900. Okay, I actually canceled it. Why? Is that a mistake? Probably. Sure. My idea then would be to instead chase it from here. Okay. Which would really improve the risk reward of this. But that could just bring us straight to new highs, possibly also. As we've seen, I want to see though what happened in the charts on this 1 minute. We see a sell-off in spot. How much open interest got nuked there? Not very much. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's supposed to be the buy, but I like the idea of trying lower. Especially now that I've been given. It just looks more possible. I still like that idea, but I like the idea of trying to do this in a way that maybe um, has a little bit more uh, risk reward. So I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try 63, 500 maybe. I would say if we hit our target, I'm less likely to want to trade it. Maybe like 63, 470. 63. Right over here seems okay. 63,500. Then I'll allow for a sweep of this. But not a sweep of this, maybe. I know where I want my entry, I know where I want my TP. Although again, I would kind of want to cancel this if we hit here first. I could also be more conservative with my stop. Because it's like, I'm just going to enter a little bit lower. Okay, thank you, Near. It's such a small position though, it doesn't really matter, but maybe it's just gonna, I mean, I want to be a buyer on Bitcoin, but do I like buying at like the highs of this little mini range, right? Or would I rather prefer at least buying the middle? And I would just be looking to buy the middle. So I like my entry and I like my stop loss. No, and I like my target. I don't know about my stop though, right? Because I have this other trade from lower. Maybe I should have let it fill also, but I just didn't really do that. I mean, if I was doing this, it's like, what's the point, right? Because I have this other trade. So it makes sense to maybe something like this. Okay, let's do that. Again, maybe I'm really supposed to be a buyer right here, but I'm gonna try for another pullback. Pull back lower. Okay, so we're gonna put it now at 63,500 with a stop at 62,500 with a take profit at 65,200. Price might just rip through that, but let's be more conservative. And let's do it. And I just improved the risk reward. If this happens, I have the same risk that I did before. Um, but I have a better stop, and a win would be worth more. There's also a greater chance of this not filling now, though, but I guess that's okay. I really dislike the near trade, but I don't. It says exit on close above yellow. Well, I meant for that day. I really don't like exiting at the market. I want to get away from that if at all possible. So it's like if I want to TP, it would be here, or I could TP here, which is possible. I could, if I wanted to be more conservative, but I'm more interested in if price comes down, I advance my stop, right? I don't know, I could do that, but it's like, if we fail here, we should go lower, so I think I'm gonna leave it alone for now. Yeah. ETH. Now, I'm not that interested in doing it necessarily, but there would be something for, as we sweep in here and we make a new gap, there would be something for longing. Where do we aim for ETH though? Aiming all the way up here. That's sort of interesting to do. And I could maybe consider doing that small size. Had to go check out the mailman. I gotta get going. It just looks to me like it's better to wait for this on ETH. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels a little bit more like chasing. And it's just hard to structure it in a way that really makes a lot of sense. So I think I'm just gonna leave it. I'm kind of hating it where I could take a loss on near and Bitcoin. It's possible. Or a loss. There's also this scenario where I'm like not involved with Bitcoin on this move up that's happening. where it doesn't need to come back for me. Huh. That was really interesting, this big red candle that came in. But I mean, I made my decision and I could add more risk by trying some kind of ETH long. I don't really like it that much. There's such an open interest increase. Lonnie, that I think I'm about ready to leave it. I need to get going anyways. I want to see things go down, but maybe it's just not what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be in tomorrow, and in a little, in like 15 hours, I'll be back. Uh, Come on back, baby. Just wait for it. I do think this is gonna get hit at some point, and it could be a great trade. This area on both Bitcoin and ETH. That'll be like maybe price goes much higher before coming back down there, and also it's possible it gets left entirely. But I think if price comes in here, it's could potentially make a great long. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to think about where ETH might go. Could ETH come all the way back to 4,000? It's hard for me to imagine that, but anything's possible. Yeah, don't really like near, but anyways, that's it. See what happens. Appreciate y'all. Much love. Happy trading. Peace.